Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post it up to Facebook, along with these videos, answering questions on Wednesdays, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom! Shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are awesome. So they do chatting. They do online therapy. They are just phenomenal. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from them, from the people using them. So thank you. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are everywhere in the world. So if you need to get with a master's level or PhD level, please go to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Fill out a few questions. They'll place you with a licensed therapist, and you're good to go. Thank you, BetterHelp.com. Woo! All right, talk to you guys about questions. So this last week we were talking about attachment disorders. So the questions that I have left over are, okay, I constantly feel pain in my throat and jaw tightness. Could my pain dissipate once I heal my trauma? If so, any recommendations for the next steps? Thank you. Okay, here's the deal. That's called oh boy, here we go. Big word. Temporomandibular, oh good Lord. Temporomandibular, there we go, joint dysfunction, otherwise known as TMJ. So basically, it's going to be learning stress management, relaxation techniques. So, and yes, it generally does come from trauma. So working with a trauma therapist, working on that, but also working with somebody who does specialize in TMJ is going to help you. So I have the same thing. So when I was a kid, it's not so much now because I've learned how to relax the jaw, but it's clenching. We're clenching our jaw shut, and generally because we want to say something and we can't say it. So tightening your jaw is what causes that hurting in the jaw here. So you want to work with a trauma therapist, but you also want to work with a TMJ specialist, a massage therapist, possibly acupuncture. That's going to help that. Mindfulness is going to be really important. So what do you notice when you're clenching your jaw? Do you notice when you're doing that? So you want to work with a TMJ specialist. You want to work with your doctor. So basically, first thing you want to do is eliminate any physical issues. So is there any sort of, is the jaw off? Is there something that needs to be fixed? Is the teeth alignment off? Is it a dental issue? Is it a stress issue? Is it an abuse issue, that we clench our jaws? So you want to hit it from all angles. So I would definitely say talk to a TMJ specialist, talk to a dentist. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And get a massage therapist. My massage therapist always massages in here. It's gotten much better over the years. And an acupuncturist, and see if you can get that handled. When we work on our trauma, does it get better? Yeah. When we get more coping skills and more mindfulness and we're aware of clenching the jaw and, letting it go, how does that feel? The other thing I do sometimes during the day is if I realize I've been clenching my jaw, I will massage this little muscle in here. And oh my goodness, that'll be tender because I will have been clenching. So yeah, it's going to be a several-pronged approach. You definitely want to address the trauma. That's definitely going to help. You definitely want to talk to a TMJ specialist. You want to talk to a dentist. Make sure that the teeth are aligned and everything else, because that all affects throat and jaw and things like that. So rule out any physical stuff, work on the trauma, and that should help. Get a massage therapist. Also look into acupuncture. So that would be my suggestion for that. Okay. In your experience and knowledge, Chris, do you believe in art therapy for this? Absolutely. I believe in music therapy. I believe in art therapy. I believe in sand tray therapy. Whatever works, however you need to get to that inner child stuff, do it. Do it. Finger painting, coloring books. Why do you think coloring books for adults are so popular? Because you're relating to that inner child. You're getting to that inner child. So absolutely, you want to do art therapy, you want to do music therapy, you want to do whatever therapy speaks to you. Not everybody can do or likes to do talk therapy. Sometimes the way to get to an issue or a problem is to go about it from a completely thinking outside of the box kind of way. Do it. Absolutely. So art, music, sand tray, whatever. Do it. Do it. Try it. The worst that can happen is nothing. You know, the best that can happen is you access whatever it is you need to work on. So yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer of whatever works, do it. Especially with inner child stuff. Okay. Why do they want their kids to be unconscious and play doctor instead of taking them to the hospital? Okay, let me see if I understand this question. Okay, why do they want their kids to be unconscious and play doctor instead of taking them to hospital? Well, narcissists don't like children going to the doctor. They don't. They are very loath to have another set of eyes on it. And remember, the medical profession, myself included, is we have to report things. We're a mandated reporter. So if there's abuse going on and we see it, then we have to report it. Absolutely. What happened to my little sign here? You stay up there. Thank you. So we have to report it. So if there's anything weird going on, we have to report it. If we see abuse, we have to report it. So abusers don't like their kids going to the hospital because if there's abuse going on, it's going to get reported. If it's obvious enough. If it's verbal abuse, no. But if there's physical broken bones, bruises, scratches, malnutrition, etc., yeah, that gets reported. And they don't want their misdeeds to come to light. So that's why they don't allow their children to go to the hospital, see a doctor, go to a dentist. Oh my God. I can't tell you the number of times adult children that have been abused come to me and they're like, I don't know how to take care of my mouth. What is this brushing the teeth that you speak of? What is this flossing that you speak of? So the parents don't want them going to a dentist because the dentist would also be a mandated reporter because they're medical. Hello. So yeah, that's why they don't allow them to go to the hospital. They don't allow them to go to the dentist. They don't allow that. The other half of your question, I'm not quite sure I understand. Play doctor instead of taking them to the hospital. So if you mean like they have to diagnose themselves and figure out what's going on again, that's the whole reason is they don't want their misdeeds to come to light. So there that is. Okay. Is it possible to have DBT one-to-one with a therapist in order to have privacy? Yeah. DBT can be done in group or it can be done individually. So you just got to find a DBT therapist that does individual. So you just ask, it's like, do you do individual therapy? So people, when they call me, they'll say things like, well, do you do family therapy? No, I don't. Do you work with children? No, I do not. But let me refer you to somebody who does. So a good therapist will have a list of people that they can refer you to, and I do. So, it's like, if I don't do this, I know somebody who does. So that's the beautiful thing about networking, because if I can't take on a client, I can send them to somebody I trust that I know that can help them. So that's what you want. So yeah, you want to ask and see if they do individual, and DBT is not always group. It can be. But you want to find somebody who does individual. So yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. Any other questions? Sorry, my allergies are just going crazy today. No, that looks like it's it. Okay, so to recap the questions, if you're having any sort of physical symptoms, please go to a doctor first. So TMJ, go to a dentist. Headaches, go to your doctor. Other aches and pains, because we get that. Our body keeps score. The body keeps score. Bessel van der Kolk. Read the book. Eliminate the physical first. Work on, if you've had trauma, then, work through, see if it's physical, but also work on the trauma, because it can only help, basically. So that is my suggestion. Massage is wonderful for jaw issues, but make sure it's nothing physical. Make sure there's nothing else physical going on. Yes, art therapy is great. Music therapy is great. Any kind of therapy that speaks to you is great. It can only help. So do what works. They don't like having kids go to the doctor because eyes are on it. It's the same reason they don't like having teachers question them or anything else. They don't want their abuse to come to light because they're cowards. So that's why they don't like their kids going to the dentist, to the doctor, to the dermatologist, to the podiatrist, to whatever. So if you've got an ex, especially if you're going through a high conflict divorce and they are fighting you on allowing that child to go see a doctor, that is a huge red flag. So that's the reason, is because they're not wanting somebody to see something. And yes, any modality, DBT, dialectic behavioral therapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, any of the modalities, you just ask them. It's like, do you do individual? And just make sure that they do. So there that is. Okay, so this coming Sunday, I will be talking about contrast and compare addictions and personality disorders. So I'm just going to title it Contrast and Compare, because like I said, YouTube, for some bizarre reason, has a really hard time when I'm honest with what I'm talking about. So we'll be talking about the similarities and the differences between addictions and narcissistic personality disorders specifically. Well, and borderline personality disorder. So there's some similarities, but there's also some differences. So we're going to talk about that and how they can kind of mimic one another. So we're going to talk about that as well. All right, my love, you guys go have a great week, and I will talk to you on Sunday.